Today's episode is brought to you by Anchor. Guys, now what is Anchor, you ask? It's the fastest way, easiest way to create a podcast. Everyone always asks me, how did you start your podcast? Where did you start your podcast? It's Anchor, guys. That's what I use. It's the easiest place to create a podcast ever. One thing I love about it, it's free. The second thing is it's easy distribution. One click, it gets you to all the other platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. The next, it has like this creation tool, so you can edit your podcast, record your podcast from your phone or on a computer if you want. Like I said earlier, guys, it's the easiest place to record a podcast. All you have to do is download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and start your podcast. It's that simple. Now let's get into the show. Inspire future entrepreneurs to take the leap from working for someone else to pursue their passions and side hustles and turning them into full-fledged businesses. My name is Jerome Fenton. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Every week I'll be speaking with an entrepreneur that has taken that leap. We will be talking about the lessons they've learned and how they've turned their passions and side hustles into full-fledged businesses. H for Hustle Podcast, welcome back. Another illustrious episode up ahead, and I'm your host Jerome Fenton, guys. So today I'm not going to be doing an interview. I want to do a quick solo episode. A lot of you guys who are listening to the show have full-time jobs, work a full-time job, and I've been corresponding with you guys on social media, and I'm finding out a lot of you don't have a side hustle. You're thinking about starting a business, but a lot of you don't even have a side hustle. And why I recommend people have a side hustle is that it teaches you the discipline of how to balance two things at one time: how to balance your full-time job and how to balance a side hustle. And if you want to make that transition to running your own business one day, you have to learn how to do that balance before you can completely jump out there and go join the entrepreneurial lifestyle. You have to kind of learn how to balance both of those things. So today on this episode, what I want to go over is 4 side hustles you can do with just a laptop and pretty much $0 to get involved. It's very, very easy. These are not easy, but they're very simple to start, and you can make some money very quickly. You can make anywhere from $2,000 to an extra $1,000 every single week or every single month. If one thing I learned in 2020 is that you can't have just one stream of income, because a lot of people who were living on one stream of income, boom, they got laid off from their job due to the pandemic. They were in lockdown and no sources of income coming in. So you got to have more than one source of income. So I'm gonna go over 4 that you can start today with just a laptop or a computer. Sometimes even a cell phone or a tablet. It's up to you. So I'm gonna get into them right now. So the first side hustle you could do with just a laptop, this one's kind of near and dear to me. It is podcast editor. Now, podcasting is a very fast-growing space right now. There's a lot of people starting a podcast, a lot of people getting involved. And if you listen to a lot of podcasts like I do, you sometimes realize the audio quality isn't there, the editing isn't there. And that's because a lot of times people don't have podcast editors. Now, it's very easy to edit a podcast. It just takes a little bit of time to do it. You can get into editing podcasts very easily. If you have a Windows computer, just download this thing called Audacity. You go to just type it in Google, Audacity. It's a audio editor, and it is a good one for it being free. That's the one I use. That's the one that my editor uses for podcast editing. If you have a Mac computer, there's GarageBand already installed, and you can do a lot of the editing there as well. Now, podcasting is a very fast-growing space, and is a very easy way to get in. Now, I know you're saying, I don't know how to edit a podcast. It's very easy. Download Audacity, learn to use the software, go on YouTube. There's YouTube channels like Buzzsprout will show you how to use Audacity in very small 10-minute videos. You just have to play with the software, and then you can go market yourself to podcasters. So all you have to do is go on Instagram, type in hashtag podcast, see all the podcasts there, make a list of a few of them you want to get in contact with, and then DM them. Hey, I'm a podcast editor. I'm not sure if you're interested in getting a a podcast editor for your podcast. If you're overwhelmed with editing your podcast, I can take that service from you and charge you a small fee. You can charge anywhere between $50 to $75 per episode. You can even charge more. You can also charge like a bundle. I'll do 12 edits for 12 podcast edits for $500 or $700. You can do different packages to bundle it up together. It is a very, very, very good space to be in right now, because the audio space is a very popular space right now, and a ton of podcasters are always looking for editors. I mean, granted, I have an editor. Shout out to Brian from Backpack Sounds. He does all of our editing. He does a fantastic job. If I didn't have him, I would be pulling the hair that's not on my head out of my head. So it is a very, very lucrative space, and there's a lot of podcasters that are very, very interested in paying for an editor. So that's the first service. You can start off with just a laptop, $1, a couple YouTube videos, and you're in the game just like that. So the second side hustle you can do with just a laptop is website testing. So companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Mint.com, they all have new websites that they want to put up. But before they put up these new websites, they look for testers, people that's willing to test their website to see if it works well, to see how the user interface is, to see if the customer enjoys using the website, and they want the feedback. Now, you can get paid anywhere from $10 to $60 for 20 to 30 minutes worth of your time testing out a website and giving back feedback. I do this from time to time when I'm bored. I usually take this money and I buy very low cost stocks, because this is a great little side hustle you can do if you're willing to allocate 20 to 3 hours worth of your time just testing out websites, and you can make, again, anywhere from $10 to $60. Sometimes it's 60, sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 40. Very, very good space. It's a really easy way to make, you can make an extra anywhere from $100 to $500 doing this, and all it takes is a little bit of time. So if you're already at home, not really doing much, or you're after work and you're not doing much, might as well test a couple websites, make a few dollars. Great side hustle, and all you need is a laptop. Or if you're in college and you have a lot of time on your hands, or you're in high school, you have a lot of time on your hands, go to the coffee shop, sit down, and just test a bunch of websites all day long, and you can make a really profitable situation for yourself. So that's number 2, website testing. You can go to websites like usertesting.com, testing.userbrain.net, testingtime.com. I'll put all the links to that in the description. There's a few, but just do a Google search for website testing and you'll see hundreds of websites pop up. Sign up to as many as you want and just go at your leisure. So I'm gonna get into number 3, and number 3 is teaching online, teaching English online. And I have a friend that does this, and she makes anywhere from $18 to $22 an hour teaching kids in different countries how to speak English. Now, most of the time they already know the English language. They just need someone to speak to fluently, and to go over correct spelling and pronunciations of words. Most of the time you're teaching kids in other countries like China and Singapore and Sudan, in countries where they don't speak English fluently. Their parents are a little bit more affluent and they want them to learn English. You can use websites like VIPkids.com, QKids.com. Those are just very few websites. Just look up teaching English online. Some websites require you to have a bachelor's degree. Some require you to at least have worked with children before. Some don't have that requirement. You just have to look around and see the ones that you want to work with. Now, VIP Kids, the one I know that is very, very good, and I've heard nothing but good reviews about, and QKids.com are also another one that I heard really good things about. But this is a fantastic side hustle if you're already a natural English speaker and you might have that bug to teach, or you have taught before. It's a great way to make money at home and anywhere from $18 to $22 an hour. Most sessions go from anywhere between 1 to 2 hours, but you do the math, you can do about 2 to 3 sessions a day. And again, I had a friend that was making $500 to $1,000 doing this. So this is a very, very, very good side hustle. And all you need is a laptop. You have a user interface where you almost do like a Zoom video, and you teach someone how to speak English. It's like very basic. So that's a very good side hustle. Check out those websites. Again, I'll link them up down in the description. But it's a very good side hustle to get into. Also, I want to piggyback on the teaching English thing before I go into the next side hustle. You can teach other things just besides English. Let's say you're really proficient at teaching math or teaching first grade, fifth grade, 10th grade math, whatever. You can set up a math tutoring business online. All you need is a Zoom account, and you can advertise to daycares, schools, mommy groups on Facebook, parenting groups on Facebook. You can also set yourself up on Thumbtack, places like that, where you can sell your service. My daughter, the oldest daughter, she takes a cooking class, but it's an online cooking class, and I help her with the online cooking class. But we paid, like a certain amount for 6 classes, and every week is about an hour to an hour and a half, where she learns how to make scones or how to make empanadas, just like very basic stuff. It's not really a lot. One week we learned how to cook like seasoned rice. It was like really basic. A lot of baking more than it was over the stove. And we paid a decent amount of money for that. And the class had about anywhere between 10 to 15 kids. So let's say you charge anywhere between $50 and $75 per class to teach kids how to cook. You see how quickly that can make you anywhere between $700 to $1,000 in one class. And again, you can advertise these things on Mommy and Me Facebook groups, parenting Facebook groups. You could go on Thumbtack. You can go to daycares in your local area, hand out flyers and say this is what you do. And you teaching a cooking class or a math tutoring or English or Spanish. Teaching, there's so many things you can teach, and people are willing to pay for it, and you could do it all virtually. It might take a little work up front to set up everything, but it's not going to cost much to get started. You're just taking a skill set that you already have and being able to teach it repetitively. So let's get into the last side hustle that you can do is freelance work. Now, freelance work goes the gambit. Freelance meaning, let's say you're really good at proofreading and writing. You can be a proofreader. You could be a content writer. You could be just a writer. I actually pay this girl about $50 per blog post. So I'll record an idea for a blog post. She transcribes it and turns it into a blog post. There's a ton of things. You could do bookkeeping. You could do accounting. There's so many things you can freelance. A friend of mine, he sells stock footages. He's a photographer. He sells stock footage. So what that means is that he goes out and takes pictures of plants and still life and cars moving and all different random film, and then he uploads them to a website, and if people buy those pictures for anything, he gets paid. And he's making about $3,000 a month. Granted, he has over 4,000 pictures online that are in circulation, and he makes an extra $3,000 a month just kind of sitting on the side. He took those pictures once, he uploaded them once, and that's kind of it. So freelancing, there's so many things you can do. If you guys remember episode, I think 68 with Tanya Thomas, she was a virtual assistant. So she was an assistant at work, and she realized that she could do being a virtual assistant is just like being an assistant at work for somebody, but instead it's just virtual, and she started a whole business over that. So there's a ton of things you can do freelance wise, and you could do most of them online. Again, content writing, bookkeeping, graphic design, photography, editing, any skill that you already have, you can pretty much turn it into a freelance thing. Now, there are websites like Fiverr.com, where you can put yourself up on a service there, and people will get in contact with you. You can also do Upwork.com, where you can put yourself on there. Those are like marketplaces. People go there and look for people with that specific skill. So they might be going there looking for a bookkeeper. They might be going there looking for a graphic designer. Whatever it is, you can put yourself up there for free, and there's a ton of traffic. They do a ton of marketing for you, and you get people coming to you looking for your service. So, Fiverr and Upwork are great options if you're looking to get into the freelance game. What I would suggest is go on Fiverr if you can't think of a skill set that you can do as freelancing. Go on Fiverr and go on Upwork and just browse around, see what's in each services. Maybe there's something you can do, and you just don't know it right now. I also know someone else who removes backgrounds out of images for someone, and all he does is go to Canva, and there's a setting in Canva that removes backgrounds for people, and he charges $10 to $5 for that. There's a ton of services. I know people who do voiceover work. There's a million services you could do on Fiverr and on Upwork, and people will pay you to do that. So, one thing 2020 and being in a lockdown and a pandemic taught me is that you can't rely on one stream of income. You have to have multiple streams of income. And the easiest way for most people to start a second stream of income is to trade what they're doing at work anyway. They're trading time for money. And when you do most of these services, you're just trading more time for money. Eventually, you'll get good enough at balancing where maybe you take your side hustle and go full on and build it into a business at scale. Or maybe you keep your 9-to-5 job and you just do this on the side, and this is your money that you use to go on vacation or pay for your kids' karate school or whatever the case may be. But you got to have more than one stream of income, and there's nothing more empowering than having multiple streams of income and multiple ways to create revenue for yourself. So those are the 4 side hustles that I believe you can do with just a laptop, and you can get started today. Now, you just heard me talk for about 15-20 minutes and giving you all this advice. The next step is to take action. Just take action. Take action. Take messy action. Take any type of action. Just start. These side hustles I gave you, I didn't say they cost anything. They're pretty much free. If you have a laptop, you don't even need to have internet connection. Go to a Starbucks. Go to a local coffee shop that has internet. Go to the library. I don't care where you go. Just go and start these things today. Or if you like nothing that I said, go look up other side hustles. Maybe there's something that you personally like that you could start as a side hustle. What I want to do is plant the seed to open up your mind to different options. So that's all for this week's episode. Next week, we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming with some great interviews. I have some fire interviews lined up. But that's all for this week, guys. Peace. Boom.